Satan isn't mentioned anywhere in the Hebrew Bible. Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. And the notion that there is some individual malevolent divine being named Satan is a development of the common era of the Christian period. In the Hebrew Bible, what we have is the Hebrew noun Satan, which just means adversary or accuser or something like that, and is just a role that anyone can step into in any circumstance or situation. And so we see a number of humans who are described as functioning as a Satan in the Hebrew Bible. We even see the angel of the Lord in the book of Numbers confronting Balaam as a Satan. So in the Hebrew Bible, the majority of the usage there is as this generic noun that just means adversary, opponent, accuser, something like that. We get a new development in the first two chapters of the book of Job, where now we have Ha-Satan, the Satan, which is still not a name, but a title. And here it seems to be identifying a role, a function, an office within the divine council of the Israelite pantheon. And so when the B'nai Elohim, the children of God, the second tier of the Israelite pantheon, come before God at the beginning of Job, there is someone who is functioning as the Satan among them. And that Satan is the one who argues that Job won't remain faithful if God takes his wealth away and if Job gets really sick and all that kind of stuff. But we still don't have an individual named Satan. And in Greco-Roman period Judaism, we have this noun Satan begin to turn into a kind of class of divine being. And in some of the Enochic and other literature, we see references in the plural to a group of malevolent divine beings called the Satans. It's not until the New Testament that we first see this developed idea of Satan as the name of an individual malevolent divine being. And it's not until after the New Testament that we then turn around and begin to identify other characters from the Hebrew Bible as Satan. So in the New Testament, you get this idea that Beelzebub, which is actually Beelzebul in the Greek, is Satan, but this is actually just Baal, the northwest Semitic storm deity. The serpent from the Garden of Eden is not identified with Satan until perhaps the Odes of Solomon, but more clearly the early Christian writing of the 2nd and 3rd century CE. The book of Revelation refers to that ancient serpent in one part, and this is not the serpent in the Garden of Eden. This is the Leviathan, the ancient serpent. Now, Lucifer in Isaiah 14 is also not Satan. This is a sarcastic reference to the king of Babylon as a divine being identified with the planet Venus, which is Halel ben Shachar in the Hebrew. We get Heosphoros in the Greek, which gets translated into the Latin Vulgate as Lucifer. But this is another figure that is not identified as Satan until after the New Testament. And in Luke 10, where it has Jesus saying, "I saw Satan falling like lightning to the earth," this makes more sense as a reference to the Enochic tradition of the head malevolent divine being and their angels falling to earth to mate with human women, to produce the giants, to produce the Nephilim, to introduce evil into the world. So there's this whole narrative based on Genesis 6 that is developing in the Greco-Roman period about the fall of the head malevolent divine being and the fall of the angels. And so Luke 10 is almost certainly referring to that. We don't have a clear identification of Satan as Lucifer until, again, the 2nd and 3rd century CE. Now, if you'd like more information on this, this is discussed in Esther Hamori's new book, God's Monsters. I would highly recommend that one. We also have a thorough discussion in Archie Wright's book, Satan and the Problem of Evil. And then I also recommend The Satan by Ryan Stokes, How God's Executioner Became the Enemy. We discussed the development of the concept of Satan in episode 18 of the Data Over Dogma podcast, and I also taught a 1-hour online class on this question that is accessible through my website, mcclellan.org.